happening. Kirk Cousins is going to sign with the Minnesota Vikings. What is going on, y'all? 5 Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL, talking more NFL free agency and talking about the biggest news in NFL free agency, which is Kirk Cousins and where he was going to go. And it is now certain, or pretty much certain, that he is going to sign with the Minnesota Vikings. So here to break that down, talk about this signing, talk about that contract, because you're going to want to hear about this contract, okay? And talking about the fit and ultimately why Kirk Cousins decided on Minnesota versus these other teams and the other options, and where I think now the Vikings stack up, not just in their own division, but my God, where they stack up in the entire NFL, and are they Super Bowl bound as soon as next season. First and foremost, of course, we have to get into the contract details, and boy, I could not wait to get into this, because the two words that I'm about to say scare a lot of GMs and a lot of front office executives in the NFL, and those words are fully guaranteed, and that is what Kirk Cousins is looking at. Now look, before I tell you the exact details of the contract, I will say, look, Kirk Cousins is still planning to go and visit Minnesota, okay? From everything I've read, his first stop is going to be with Minnesota. So it is not like he's already signed the contract. You can't sign the contract yet. Free agency hasn't officially opened yet, but you can agree to terms, which is what all of these other players have been doing. The thing is, the reporters and everyone who's been saying that he's going to go with the Vikings are so sure in the Vikings offer and everything that they're offering that they won't let Kirk Cousins leave Minnesota without agreeing to sign a contract. So basically, this is a hand-in-shake agreement type of thing where Kirk Cousins is basically going to agree to sign with the Vikings. So that is what I'm trying to say to you guys before you guys say, oh, last minute he changed his mind or whatnot. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to sign with the Vikings. So let's move on with the impression that he is going to sign with Minnesota. So back to the contract, though. Back to the contract. Back to the words fully guaranteed, folks. 3 years, $86 million. That's right. 3 years, $86 million. So I've heard somewhere between $84 to $86 million. But it's in that vicinity, if you will, okay? 3 years, $84 to $86 million. Folks, we're talking NBA contract money now, okay? $28 million per year. Going to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. This surpasses Jimmy Garoppolo's contract of $27.5 million, folks. And I love it. Yes, I love it, folks. Okay, look, Viking fans, let me talk to you guys for a little bit. I'm a Bears fan. Here's the thing with this contract. Kirk Cousins is 29 years old. It's a 3-year deal, and I like this more than a 5-year deal or a 6-year deal with half of the contract being guaranteed, because I don't like the whole notion of cutting the guy and then franchise tagging him or one or the other. And you saw this whole fiasco in Washington with Kirk Cousins repeatedly signing the franchise tag and whatnot, if you will. Just get a 3-year deal in, get it fully guaranteed. After the 3 years, he'll be 32 years old. That's not too old for a quarterback, but if it is and you feel like he's not the future, you can move off of him. So I like this fully guaranteed contract, and as crazy as it sounds, I really do. Because of that reason, I think this is a perfect contract for a guy like Kirk Cousins. Now, of course, is he worth the money in terms of the $28 million and being the highest paid quarterback in the NFL? No, but I've been very strong in saying this, and I've been very consistent, I should say, in saying this. Every time a new quarterback signs a contract, he becomes the highest paid, folks, okay? So this is just a norm. Matt Stafford, same thing happened. Jimmy Garoppolo, same thing happened. Now Kirk Cousins, same thing happened. So I'm not reading too much into that. Like I said, when a guy like Aaron Rodgers gets a new contract, he will be the #1 paid quarterback. And I'm pretty sure all of those sort of, parameters in terms of who should be the best and highest paid will all get slotted out once all of the new contracts come for all of these quarterbacks, okay? So I'm not too worried about he's the highest paid, if you will. One, this is free agency. You got to overpay a little bit, at least a little bit. And two, this is quarterback, okay? This is the premier position in the NFL. And definitely when you take a guy like Kirk Cousins, who has been a Pro Bowler at this position, this is the cost to do business for a guy like Kirk Cousins. But like I said, overall, I like this deal, folks. Minnesota fans should be very happy with this, because now you've got a solid guy back at center. You've got Kirk Cousins. You've got Dalvin Cook who was, remember, he went out with an injury last year. People forget they had Latavius Murray and Jerick McKinnon backing him up. But Dalvin Cook is an absolute stud. So you've got a stud running game. You've got Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers. Kyle Rudolph's a solid tight end. And that defense is elite. I mean, my God, they are building, or they have built a monster in Minnesota. And the Vikings pretty much should have the division on lock. And I'm saying that as a Bears fan. Like I said, I'm just happy if the Bears make the playoffs next year. The Vikings should have other goals in mind, a.k.a. Super Bowl, okay? Because that is a Super Bowl-ready roster right now. And this signing makes complete sense for Kirk Cousins. I've been saying it from the beginning. There was a 90 to 95% chance I said he's signing with the Vikings because it just made too much sense. Like I said, the pieces around him. You're playing inside a dome now. You're playing in a division with, I know Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback, but he doesn't have the best team, so it's very winnable. And you take all of that into account. They're giving you a fully guaranteed contract. And it all adds up, and I think it's just a perfect fit for Kirk Cousins, so I'm not surprised one bit that he picked this team. And the only other suitor was the New York Jets, and if they were going to offer him $60 million per year, that would have been crazy. That would have been crazy, okay? So with that being said, it makes perfect sense for Kirk Cousins. Makes perfect sense for the Minnesota Vikings. I do want to defend Kirk Cousins on, and a lot of people give Kirk Cousins flack about whether or not he's a good quarterback. They think he's just average. I like Kirk Cousins. Look, let's look at the numbers, okay? Past 3 seasons, Kirk Cousins has been a starter, and Kirk Cousins is a great sort of, rags to riches story, if you will. If you guys remember, he was drafted in the same draft as RG3, Robert Griffin III. RG3 was a starter for the Redskins. Kirk Cousins was the backup. Now, RG3, of course, got hurt and didn't play as well, which led way for Kirk Cousins to get an opening. But even when you get an opportunity, you still got to cash in and be able to produce. And that's what Kirk Cousins did. Last 3 seasons, he's had 4,000-plus yards every single season. Almost had a 5,000-yard season in 2016. Touchdowns, hasn't had less than 25. Interceptions, hasn't had more than 13. Passer rating's been great. 70% completion percentage to 65. And so the numbers are there. And you're talking about who did the Redskins surround him with? I mean, you had Matt Jones, Alfred Morris as your running back. You had Terrell Pryor, a wide receiver who was a quarterback before. Jordan Reed was really the only really stud guy that he had, and he was hurt all the time. Deshaun Jackson was a deep threat. That's about it. So not too many guys of Pierre Garçon here and there. So now you're talking about not just a good receiving core. You're talking about a stud running back. You're talking about a stud defense. Kirk Cousins just doesn't need to mess it up. That's all he has to do. Just don't mess it up, Kirk. Just do what you need to do. Do what you did in Washington. If Kirk Cousins just had as another season like this with the Minnesota Vikings, the Vikings are headed to the Super Bowl. So let's talk about their chances real quick here. In terms of the NFC, man, it's very hard for me to tell you another team that I like more than the Vikings at this point because just obviously you have the Eagles who are the Super Bowl champions, but besides the Eagles, I think the Vikings and the Eagles are the clear top 2 teams in the NFC. And with this Kirk Cousins signing, I could make the argument that they are better than the Eagles. Look, I know the Eagles won the Super Bowl, but you've got an upgrade at quarterback, which is a huge position. Of course, it's the best position or most important position in sports. And so you have to take that into account. And if Kirk Cousins balls out like a Pro Bowler, because they had Case Keenum last year, then you could see this team definitely beating the Philadelphia Eagles, and I definitely do think they can. So these are the 2 top teams, and outside of that, I really don't see another team, depending on what the Saints do. We'll see about that. The Seattle Seahawks, obviously, they're going through a lot of turnover. I don't see them as a major threat now. 49ers are a sleeper team. Don't sleep on my boy Jimmy G. But like I said, in terms of the entire roster, the whole package, you cannot get better than Minnesota has right now in terms of what they have done. I really like this roster. Philadelphia and Minnesota are really the 2 teams in the NFC, and I would argue in the entire NFL overall, you can put them in the same class with the Patriots now in terms of the contenders. Those 3, maybe add a Pittsburgh in there as well. Those 4 really are the top 4 dogs in the entire NFL. That's just how I feel in terms of the roster, and definitely Minnesota with Kirk Cousins is in that class now. So that's what I think, folks. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below if you guys like the Kirk Cousins signing. I do. I like it. I like everything. I like the contract. I like the signing for Minnesota. With that being said, make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you turn on post notifications. You don't want to miss any videos. Comment down below on your thoughts as well, like I said. And make sure you guys subscribe and stay tuned. Thanks for watching.